Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us at 4 o'clock here on this Thursday. I'm Dustin Grove.
And I'm Felicia Lawrence, and we begin with new details in the investigation into the school shooting in Georgia yesterday. Well, the teenager accused of shooting and killing 4 people at that high school was investigated by authorities about alleged threats last year.
Investigators told local schools to monitor him, but decided there was not probable cause to arrest him. NBC's Dan Sheneman has the very latest.
Mourners arrive at the Appalachia High School flagpole, adding flowers and balloons to the impromptu memorial, one day after violence erupted at the school.
And then we heard shots fired, and we ran back into the room, and we just all piled up on top of each other in the corner.
Investigators say a student opened fire with what authorities call an AR-style weapon. 2 students, Mason Schermerhorn and Christian Angulo, both 14, were killed, as well as 2 math teachers, Christina Irami and Richard Aspinwall.
Those teachers were heroes. I want that to be known.
Authorities say teachers quickly called police with their ID cards.
And they have a button on that ID and they press it so many times and it alerts us where that incident is occurring. We got multiple notifications as the shooting was going on from the teachers where to respond in that general area. It also locks down the school screens.
The shooter, identified as Colt Gray, a new student, surrendered when confronted by police. Authorities say they previously investigated tips he was making online threats.
Obviously, they looked into it. They found that there was no probable cause. A report was done, and there was no need to kind of take him into custody at the time.
A community must now endure sorrow while it waits for justice. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.
And as we learn more about yet another school shooting, parents are wondering, how do we talk with our kids about this?
What signs should we be watching out for to know whether they're struggling with this or even worried about it? Jenny Volker is a licensed clinical social worker with Community Fairbanks Behavioral Health, and she's here to help us answer some of those questions. Jenny, thank you so much for being here. One of these questions, so should we bring this up to them or should we wait for them to bring it to us? How do we even start this conversation?
As hard as it is, we've got to start the conversation. And we start by asking, what do you already know? That can really help you. If your child doesn't know anything, maybe that's not the conversation to have right now. But usually they know something, so it's really important to gently clarify any misperceptions.
Especially because a lot's on social media these days.
Absolutely. What are some red flags that we should be looking out for that indicate maybe they're struggling with something mental health related?
Yeah, I usually narrow it down to mood and behaviors. So if we see lots of mood swings, more emotional outbursts than usual, or changes in those normal behaviors, sleep routines, eating routines. For teens, it may be changes in using substances or alcohol. For younger children, it could be regressing back to earlier behaviors such as tantrums or even clinginess.
And so how should we angle that support, or what should we be doing to support them?
Yeah, parents are the experts on their own kids. So if they're seeing these changes and they're really kind of extreme for their child, they should reach out. Even if they're not sure, if you're questioning it, that's the time to talk with the school, talk to the pediatrician or your local community mental health center.
And what should we do if we think our child may need some professional support, more than what we can provide them?
Yeah, you've got a couple of options. If it's immediate professional support, there's 988. That is the National Crisis Lifeline, available 24/7. But also, again, reaching out to a local community mental health center or behavioral health, or even your family doctor.
Okay, all right. Jenny Volker here to help parents, help folks figure it out. We appreciate you. She is with Community Fairbanks Behavioral Health. Appreciate you for being here.
Tough conversation, but appreciate it.
Thank you.
And this afternoon, we are learning more about remains identified 30 years after they were discovered in Greenwood. So this weekend, those remains were identified as Michael Davis from South Carolina. During a press conference today, his family talked about learning they might finally get answers.
So while that call was we were happy, it was a shock. I mean, it was like, wow, we just never expected a call like this, and we were so hopeful, but still not sure. He needed to get some DNA from family members to see.
Now, while the coroner did not determine a cause of death for Davis, police say they have always said it's a possible murder. Our Rich Nye was at this morning's press conference. He's going to have more from the family and what's next for the investigation ahead on 13 News at 5.
Indianapolis Animal Care Services is not accepting animals for now unless it's an emergency after a dog there got sick and died this week. They say the dog suddenly started showing signs of sickness, then died less than 24 hours later. The shelter is waiting for test results to determine what's next. Until then, IACS is only accepting emergency intakes of animals that are either injured or present a public safety risk. IACS says it's still encouraging adoptions as well, and that each adoption helps reduce the overcrowding they've experienced at that shelter. Now here's Sean with a first look at our forecast. Hey, Sean.
Yeah, hey, summer lovers loving today for sure, as we're flirting with 90 degrees as expected here in central Indiana. 88, dew point around 60, so it's not crazy muggy. A little more humid, but not crazy. 90 Terre Haute, 88 Greencastle, 87 in Richmond. We've seen a few clouds pop up. We had one lone shower yesterday in Greene County. We've had a couple of showers and storms far northern Indiana. Going to keep in a slight chance today. We keep focusing on the front that remains back to the west of us, but it will be the difference maker as we go into the weekend here. 88 in Indy, 91 KC, location of the NFL kickoff here. We'll have that forecast in a little bit. I will tell you that the front tomorrow is getting in a little bit quicker and getting out a little bit quicker. That is great news for Operation Football, as it looks like the bulk of the coverage of the showers and storms by kickoff tomorrow should be out of the state, or at least close to it. Okay, so we'll talk more about that. The coldest air since April is in the weekend forecast, when to expect that. And as chilly as will be over the weekend, we got a quick warm up for next week. Now, we just talked about it here, and we are so excited. Kickoff at 8:20, KC, Ravens and Chiefs. Going to be a warm one. Got a little wind shift there as that front passes by. Kickoff temperatures in the mid-80s. Will be dry and falling into the 70s by the fourth quarter. We'll have the weekend forecast here in a few minutes.
All right. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
And then, Sean, we got some updates on traffic. You see some of those little blue icons popping up. Those aren't necessarily accidents. We have some stalled vehicles out there right now. Otherwise, things are just kind of slow here and there. Let's take you to the south side of the city. You're on 465 South. You've just passed East Street, or also US 31, and you're headed to 65. We're almost at a complete standstill, especially as folks are trying to get onto the on-ramp there as you head on 465 off towards the east. We're pretty slow on the south side. Give yourself a little extra time. Same thing on the north side. Not much better. This is looking there from Carmel as you're sitting at Keystone. You're headed eastbound towards the Fishers area. It is slow, especially when you're going 465 off towards the east. Going westbound, we're moving a little bit better. But we'll have more updates on some of the traffic here in just about 10 to 15 minutes.
All right, Matt and Sean, thank you so much. Now, are you ready for some football?
Yes, please. Love it.
Sign us up.
Season's finally here. Kicking off in just a few hours right here on NBC. This, as Sean mentioned, the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Baltimore Ravens at Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs hoping to make history as the first team to win 3 Super Bowl titles in a row.
Well, closer to home, the Colts are hoping to break the league's longest streak of losing opening week. They're going to face Houston at Gainbridge on Sunday with kickoff at 1 p.m.
And this year, you're going to notice several new changes at Lucas Oil Stadium, starting with the field right there. So instead of rubber, it is made of organic coconut husk and cork. How about that, huh?
Okay.
So this turf will play more like a grass field. And because the fibers are smaller, you'll notice how much the colors pop. Also, we have to talk about the food because, you know, it's a whole experience, right? It's not just football and the field. It's about the food.
That's true.
The stadium is unveiling 2 new menu items. Look at that.
10.
Including the ultimate grilled cheese and loaded tater tots. As for the most popular dish, here it is.
We sell the most of my Cuban sandwich, no, hands down. My Cuban sandwich, we cannot keep it in stock. We'll have 45-minute wait times, and people will say, no problem, I will wait. It is, by hands down, the best sandwich, the best thing you can get in the stadium.
Okay. Fan feedback is huge. Post-game surveys are the most helpful. The stadium says the goal is to create an immersive experience beginning to end. And we said Gainbridge. Of course, it's Lucas Oil.
I said Gainbridge earlier, but that looks really cool at Lucas Oil.